Tonkuzi tika kasi nyangu yuka saya ndi haliwa hizi adhana inna lillahi wa inna ilaihi rajiun yeyi nunga duka ambezinu wakamenya sababu ndeni ba kwa noda bangu watsaho wandu nka hujabwanda wandu kwa na hamba bande mlwar mole biro hilo hizo ndizo habari za ajiri mwanao wala dirishira kala nyido ya butailoli sankadiwa ngombe nukenyi bayinu ngejihunda hunu kwa mlima vanu imika meza iteleta inunga mona tayo ukaza jusiwa shezo pia sazi kazwa baha na nsibo mbarori yao usoro razi badeza falasika hizo njuli zani haundo kaya inude bila ya hepa seja hele jaishi ndo hopani ndo sankada mefirigo Soka hore mazamvua wovu Bawari ngendini
dhahabu na kame na harini
na mapesa
na mapesa zita huno kama wakadia kutoka kapata na leso laki mmengo merarunaya na alifunga laki hari masasha tungua rege
alhamdulillah alhamdulillah
agorjuhane wona na damu akapo na tabla damu toba shati kwa leo
Tungomba hunu kadamu bonsi shabu wajuha lakini wale kezile dahu mala ndia shabu vunze milango wanjia kafanyezo wakofanya ngamonawe bila kaiti yako.
Well, there's the visuals that came out of the Comoros, and we're talking about a week of massacres that have taken place by the government of Comoros in the city of Mbéni. Now, this is taking place in the city where we find the city of Mbéni, or the people of Mbéni, are subjected to the same situation as those in the Ukraine and Palestine, except for the fact that they are being oppressed by those who are supposed to protect them, and that is a government of Comoros. 1 week of massacres that have been taking place, and this morning we are unpacking this massacre of the government of Comoros in the city of Mbéni. We're joined by Said Hamadi from the Union of Comoros, head of the Young Leaders Network at the World Islamic Economic Forum Foundation in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Said, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jummah Mubarak to you and welcome.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Jummah Mubarak to you as well, and thank you for hosting me. Please allow me to, first of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to express myself about what is happening in the town of Mbéni, in the Union of Comoros. And I hope you will continue to be interested on what's happening to vulnerable communities like ours. Thank you.
Well, we certainly will. And I've actually followed your post where you've given a day-by-day account of the massacre and the atrocities that have been committed. Now, let's just take us just through some of the background that actually led to this massacre and these atrocities that have been committed by the government of the Comoros.
What happened in the town of Mbéni in the northern east of the island of Ngazija, in the Comoros Island, is what I can qualify as a horrible extermination. When on a Friday, a blessed day for Muslim, the leader of a Muslim nation deployed their armed forces to this town to vandalize their homes and hospitals, destroy their properties, chasing everyone away and taking hostage those who were vulnerable and could not run away, from women, senior citizens, and young folks. We counted more than 20 people. They have been tortured in detention without any prosecution whatsoever for a crime they have not convicted to be committing. But of course, give me the opportunity to first take you to the roots of this act against the people of Mbéni. The government of Comoros has issued a decree disallowing the celebration of Prophet Muhammad's birthday, known as the Maulid Rasul, during the day and before 7 p.m. And the irony of it is the same government, the army of the government, which is the first one to celebrate this Maulid Rasul, have celebrated in the morning on the first day of Muharram. But the people from Mbéni who had been celebrating the Maulid Rasul during the days for over 7 years disagreed with this baseless and dictatorial decision for a couple of reasons, such as the bad conditions of the roads and the lack of electricity. I mean, this is so to make it easy to the people who are their guests not to face any issues. Imagine someone driving at night under those circumstances. So they decided to organize their Maulid Rasul during the day for 7 years. And Mbéni defied the government and organized the Maulid on 12 October during the day. And of course, this has incited the government to deploy the army to go and disperse the crowd with tear gas and gun bullets. More than 20 citizens, mainly youngsters below 20 years old, have been injured. Some of them are in a very critical condition right now, and they need to be evacuated. And the people of Mbéni themselves are sending them overseas to neighboring countries to get treatments, countries like Tanzania, due to the limited capacity of the Comoros healthcare system. And in retaliation and out of rage, a group of teenagers have targeted houses of some respectable individuals in Mbéni, including the Minister of Finance, and burned their houses. Apparently, these young folks accused them to contribute to the military intervention. And of course, this is an act that I and everyone strongly condemn, and everyone should condemn this act. It should not have happened, no matter what. These young folks should not have done this. But what is even worse was the military intervention in the manner it was conducted. I mean, for God's sake, we are not in a war zone. The job of the army is not, I mean, the job of the army is to protect the people, but not to kill them. I personally hold them responsible for everything. You cannot enter a place, kill the people, and just leave, just go, knowing that you have among your supporters who live in that place. What can you understand? Technically, they wanted to divide the town and create hatred between its people. That's
Yes.
what
Now,
happened.
also, I think what is important to understand is Comoros is 100% a Muslim country in every way whatsoever. And here we have what is called a celebration, a religious celebration that had taken place, and the government has taken action. Now, this obviously speaks a volume with regards to the country being a Muslim country, because we know Islam encourages empathy, humanity, and this is exactly what you've articulated, where you've written, where you're saying that no voice from a single religious and political leader from the top is denouncing these acts of brutality that have been perpetrated by the Comoros government. And at the same time, we are talking about you being a small nation, and the international community, international media, human rights organizations, they haven't come forward to condemn what the government has been doing, Said.
I mean, so far, when you live under a dictatorship and people don't have the right to speak, this process doesn't really work. And as I mentioned in all my posts, we are really technically dying unnoticed because of the lack of international media presence. So nobody knows what's going on. And the people who are supposed to speak about it, who really need to talk about it, those who are on the top of the leadership, they cannot speak out. Of course, some people from the opposition, they speak about their concern, they strongly condone these acts, but we don't hear from the government. We don't hear from international organizations if they exist on the ground.
Yes. How badly have the people of Mbéni been affected? Because apparently these raids were carried out door to door, and not a single house was actually left out.
Uh, as we speak right now, the town has become a military base for the government armed forces. It has been deprived of electricity since the start of this incident until the day we speak. There's no business activities. Schools are closed. 18 schools are closed. Can you imagine? There is no life in the town. And 18 people, including doctors whose only crime was executing their duties, are still in jail. The rest have been released. So how is this situation right now? Even though the government or the army, they allow people to go back to the town, but with their presence, everyone is scared. Everyone is scared to go.
Yes. Now, would the way forward be? And obviously, now that you've highlighted all these atrocities that have been carried out, the massacres that have taken place, I mean, where to from here? Because obviously, the calls will be made to the government of Comoros that they need to obviously start changing, which is exactly what you are saying. But at the same time, as you mentioned, it's a forgotten nation, and the world has been focusing on many massacres, and you make mention of these. You speak about the Uyghurs in Myanmar, you speak about the Palestinians, you speak about the Ukraine and Russia at the end of the day. But the key issue here is going forward, what needs to be done to put pressure on the government of Comoros?
Well, the people of Comoros are crying, or the people of Comoros, especially those who are living in Mbéni right now, they are crying for justice. But from whom? This is where the question lies. Is it from the government who is committing this crime? The question is there. The people need the freedom to live a normal life again. They are criminalized and noticed, as I mentioned, with the lack of international media presence. They call for human rights organizations to come for help. They call for people to voice out, to talk about it. Because those who are inside, myself, I don't know if I'm not putting myself in danger to voice out about it. We need as many people to talk about it. We need as many organizations to come and help these people and voice out. A lot of help are needed. They need financial help to take care of those who are injured. They need to get back to their daily life and activities. It's all in the hand of the government right now.
Yes. Now, Said, at Salam Media, we have now reached out to you and for you to highlight what has taken place. And we know that the mainstream media has reported very little on what has taken place in the Comoros. Just for you personally, because you are out in Malaysia at this point in time, what are you doing? And also looking at the Union of Comoros, being the head of the Young Leaders Network, this message from people from the Comoros who are outside of the country. I suppose this is a message that is going through loud and clear. And are you now engaging with other international organizations, human rights organizations, to at the very least, highlight what is taking place before any action is taking place?
Well, this is what I've been doing, and this is the reason I am today with the Salam media. I am using my personal network to voice out, to say enough is enough. This should not have happened. No, justice must be justice must be done. So that's what I'm doing in my personal capacity. But I believe many of the Comoros who are living elsewhere, they are doing the same way. And I hope that the government will change. I hope the government will come back to their senses, because even though I hope one day justice will be served for them, but I call on our leaders to fear Allah on their responsibilities. I call on them to be the leaders they promised to be, and the Muslim they believe they are. I mentioned that in my post. It's never too late to change. While waiting for human rights organizations to come in, while encouraging my community, my people to voice out and call for people to come in for rescue, my first plea will be for the government to put an end to this, to restore peace and justice. That would be my final word for this.
What about reaching out to the likes of world bodies like the United Nations, and possibly even looking at the Organization of Islamic Conferences, the OIC, and some of the other Muslim countries?
All this has been done. All this has been done. But once the government is controlling everything, it's very difficult to succeed. It's very difficult.
Well,
We are
I do
trying.
understand. I do understand. Obviously, it's not easy, and you can only do so much, and up to a point. But at the end of the day, it is going to be up to the government. And the fear factor is, using the army to commit such brutality against people. I'm not too sure, how the rest of the country has responded. Now that this is taking place in Mbéni. I mean, what is the feeling like in the rest of the countryside?
Well, in the rest of the country, as I tell you, when you are living in a country where the people they have no voice, where the people have no right to talk, nobody can say anything. There will be some people, those who are brave enough to say this is not right, but if you are not the top in your place, or if you're not the top in the country, even though you say anything, nobody will listen to you. I wish the rest of the towns, or the rest of the people, they stand and say, no, this is not how it happened. But I think they are also afraid for the same thing not to happen to them.
Well, I suppose, one can explore looking at diplomatic channels as well, looking at the various countries, like, for instance, if there are ambassadors, from Comoros represented in other countries, and to try and get that message. And, we will try and see if there is a representative here in South Africa. We're going to try and get hold of the person, and obviously, we will highlight. Hopefully, the ambassador or somebody would be keen to come on and talk to us, so that we can at least highlight the fact, and possibly in that way the message could be relayed to the government of Comoros.
Exactly. Thanks so much. And that's the exact reason that I'm here. Is hoping that people from the government of South Africa will hear this and will get the message across to the leaders of Comoros.
Yes, we certainly will do that, Said. But we thank you. Unfortunately, time is of the essence. But we do thank you. We say Jazakallah to you for coming on and highlighting this to us. And inshallah, we definitely will continue following up on this development that is taking place. But more importantly, it needs to end. We need to put an end to the massacres. We need to put an end to the human rights violations, the basic human rights that people need to enjoy, and they need to be protected by those whom they have entrusted to protect them, which is the government of Comoros. We thank you once again. We wish you well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you for hosting me. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Said Hamadi joining us this morning and highlighting a very, very dire, a serious situation that has been unfolding in the Comoros. The time is just gone 9:42. We're going to go for a break and we're going to unpack the resignation of Liz Truss as the Prime Minister of Britain.